Welcome everybody. Welcome to White City Place Connect, where we're offering occupiers of White City Place a live platform from which to learn and engage from the comfort and safety of your own home. Welcome. Okay, so we're going to begin down on our mats. You won't be needing any other props today, so just your body, your portable temple, your sacred space on the earth. Come to lie down. And place your feet a hip distance apart. And maybe you want to bring your hands into prayer position and rest the flats of your thumbs onto your forehead. This is a really nice, effective, and quite quick way to calm down the frontal lobe of the brain, thinking part of our brain. The cognitive, strategizing, forward planning part of our brain, which we can allow to soften a little bit right now. Try to relax the shoulders. Check that the back of the neck is long. And you can almost, if you find your chin higher than your forehead, use your thumbs to draw the forehead down a little bit, softening the face from the hairline to the chin. Feel into your feet, feel the connection to the earth, maybe lifting and spreading the toes. And then from the feet to the head, have a sense of everything in between. Begin to connect to your breath. Just noticing the breath as it is. And release your hands down onto the earth, maybe palms facing upwards in a receptive quality. Taking an inhale, 2, 3, all in and out through the nose. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Follow your breath out to the very end. Notice a little pause there. And allow the inhale to naturally be drawn in and the breath to settle into an easy, natural rhythm. So keeping your tailbone rooted, draw your right knee towards your chest without using the arms, so simply knee comes towards you. Notice that the lower back is flattened here and the tailbone is curled up. And if that's the case, just take the weight forward into your tailbone a little bit so you maintain a neutral pelvis. Spread the shoulder blades. Start to circle the right knee. Maybe quite small circles to begin with. Keeping yourself rooted to the left side of the body, so the hips. So there's not too much rocking and rolling here. You might get a little bit bigger if it can be relaxed. And just notice when your core muscles switch on here to help achieve this gliding, sliding movement of the femur head in the socket. And then reverse this, so maybe little circles to begin with. Try to relax the upper body as much as you can, getting a little bit bigger, noticing how it feels, this ball and socket joint. And come to the center and stretch your right leg up towards the sky, flexing the foot. Plug your right thigh bone down, spread the toes, and start to circle the heel. And relax the back of the rib cage towards the floor, face and jaw soft. Maybe you're getting a little bit bigger. And then reverse, starting small, drawing little circles on the ceiling with your heel. Really the leg is moving right from the top in its socket, maybe getting a little bit bigger. And the knee, of course, can be bent here. The leg doesn't have to be straight. Pause with the leg vertical, and then draw your right thigh across your left. Maybe take the left hand to the outside of the thigh and the right thumb into the crease at the top of the thigh. So you're drawing your right hip forward. Left hand is just taking the leg across, squeezing the inner left thigh in a little bit here. Flex the foot, press out through the four corners of your foot, big toe joint, little toe joint, inner and outer edges of the heel. And then take the leg back through to the center. Take a strong external rotation in your leg, so your toes are pointing out towards the tip of the ear. And then as you take those right toes up and out, let your left knee drop out to the side to counterbalance the weight of the leg. And maybe you're creating a little shelf there with your right hand underneath your thigh. And I've just flexed my left foot also to keep the knee joint safe, pressing out through the heel. And of course, again, the knee may be bent. Couple of breaths here. If you're rocking over towards the straight leg too much, you can rest your left hand on your hip bone. Try to avoid looking at the foot. The leg is heavy and it will drag you over. Where we look, we tend to go. And then drawing the leg back through to the center. Left knee rises. Right ankle crosses over. Square pose. Pick the left foot off the floor and thread the needle. So holding onto the back of your left thigh. Right knee moving forward with the elbow, feeling through the length of your spine. Couple of breaths here. Notice the difference in sensation if you press your thigh forward to your interlaced hands. Tailbone drops, maybe lower back becomes a little lighter. And how it changes as you hug that left thigh towards you, lower back flattens, maybe tailbone lifts a little. Okay, come back into neutral, still holding on to the left thigh, stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling. And as you start to lower that leg down, hover it off the floor, can you stretch your left leg up? Slide the hands up the back of the leg to lift your head and neck. Take a little internal rotation in the tops of your thighs towards your pubis. Find a half-pointed, half-flexed foot if you wish. These are all just suggestions. Maybe even release the arms, holding yourself through your core. Release the shoulders. If there's tension in the neck, just lower the chin towards the chest a little bit. And then as you slowly lower down, take a hold of the back of your left thigh, soften the knee, let that thigh come towards you. Let's relax the feet also, so there's a sense of softness here. There's no forcing, no pulling, just the weight of the arms here, no bouncing, and the legs softening towards you. Shall we draw that right heel up and hug the right thigh inside the left, tuck it in there, holding, so you're going to cross the thighs, holding either knees, one with each hand, or interlacing the hands over whichever knee you can catch a hold of. And then maybe lifting your head and shoulders off the floor and sliding the hands towards the feet or the ankles, drawing the feet apart. There's a stretch into your piriformis, your IT band. Maybe release the head back down. Keep reaching the tailbone forward, couple of breaths. And then unwinding the legs, stretching them up towards the ceiling. Place the arms down onto the floor. Bend the knees. Place the feet to the earth. Turn your palms upwards. And then resisting with the tailbone, draw your left knee towards you. Start to circle that knee. Little circles to begin with. Just gently engaging the core muscles here so you can start to go a little bit larger without rocking around too much. But the weight will pass around the pelvis. And then little circles in the opposite direction. Notice if the shoulders, the face, the jaw is getting involved. And then getting a little bit bigger as you circle here. Come to the center, stretch your leg up, flex the foot, and start to circle the heel. But sometimes less is more. You can begin small. Start to get a bit bigger. And then little circles in opposition. Maybe get a little bit bigger. Center the leg. Start to take it across your right thigh. Left hand might come onto the outer shin or thigh. Right thumb is going to snuggle into the fleshy part in the top of your thigh to draw that hip forward. And the leg doesn't have to go so far across here to feel this extension. Keep the left side of your hip down here so you've got an anchor from which to reach across from. And take the leg back through to the center. Externally rotate the toes, point out towards the tip of the ear. As the right knee comes out to the side, left leg comes out and up. Flex your right foot. Support somewhere underneath the length of that leg. And if you feel you're rocking over too much towards that straight leg, right hand comes onto the hip bone to keep you grounded. Spread the toes. Press out through the four corners of your foot. Couple of breaths here, relaxing tension where it's not necessary or useful. Of course, there's going to be a good tension in each of these poses. And then taking the leg back, right knee rises, left ankle crosses over. Pick up the right foot, thread the needle, so holding onto the back of your right thigh or your yoga pants. And feeling the different sensations as you press your tailbone forward. Press your thigh into your interlaced hands, so maybe the arms straighten. Lower back arches away from the floor, perhaps a little bit, or at least becomes a little bit lighter. And then hug your right thigh towards you, let your lower back soften, maybe the tailbone curls up. Beautiful. Find that place in between these two polarities, stretching your left leg up, so you're still holding onto the back of your right thigh. As you lower that leg down, it's going to hover off the floor, stretch your right leg up. So you've got kind of scissored legs here. Left heel is hovering. Slide the hands up the back of the right leg to lift the chest. Find a half pointed, half flexed foot. If you can, little internal rotation in the tops of your thighs. Release your arms. Draw the shoulder heads away from the earlobes. Couple of breaths here, navel to spine. Keep breathing if you can. And then as you lower yourself down, catch a hold of the back of your right leg once again. Soften the knee. Let the thigh move towards you. No pulling, forcing or bouncing. Should be just enough the gentle weight of the arms and gravity. Ankles, toes are soft. Couple of breaths. And then dragging up your left heel, tuck the left thigh behind the right, feet come off the floor. Hands onto each kneecap or one, whichever works for you, as you hug in. Soften in the top of the right thigh. Maybe you're lifting head and shoulders, sliding the hands to the ankles or feet or even shins, and you're splitting the feet, pulling them in opposition. There's quite a nice little hug in with the inner thighs. Maybe release the head back to the floor, quite strong into the outer hips, at least for myself. And then release the hands down, stretch your legs up towards the ceiling, flexing your feet. Spread the toes, draw the knees in, slip the hands behind the backs of the knees, and rock yourself back and up to seated. Just curling the shins around so we come onto our hands and knees. Placing the wrists underneath the shoulders, hips above the knees. Lift the back of the abdominal wall up towards your spine. So we have this abdominal cavity that is filled with our internal organs, which are quite a tightly packed community of organs that have mobility and motility to them. Now the back of the abdominal wall lies behind the organs, but to the front of the spine. So instead of thinking of drawing the skin of the front body back, can you today think of drawing the back of the abdominal wall towards the spine? So it gives you that uplift, gives you the support for the spine, but also allows the belly to breathe and be soft. So as you inhale, the belly softens, but the back of the abdominal wall stays lifted, and as you exhale, the belly draws back. So finding your navel center, and imagine it pierces all the way through the body and comes out of the back of the body. Stick your navel, and from that point, as you inhale, reach your right arm forward, stretch your left leg back. Exhale, take the hand and shin to the floor. Simple movement. Moving on a diagonal, opposite arm to leg, left arm, right leg. Exhale, slide it to the floor. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Moving away from your navel. Exhaling. Inhale, just keep alternating. Exhale. Right arm, left leg. Inhale. This time bend the back knee. Reach around, maybe tap the big toe joint without holding it. So we're going to release it as we stretch out again. Inhale. Exhale, hand and chin to the floor. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Reach around, tap. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hand and chin to the floor. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Reach around, bend the knee. Maybe catch the inner big toe joint. Press the foot into the hand to open up the space in the lower back and the knee. Lift out of that bottom shoulder. Extend your heart as you breathe. And then as you cross that left thigh behind the right, bring the knee to the floor, hands to the floor. Walk your hands back, sit back, don't expect to sit on the floor here, so my sit bones are lifted. Let the body drape over, maybe chin hands over the knee. And if this doesn't feel good for your knees, you can take a child's pose without the twisted legs. And inhaling, coming back up onto your shins and separate the knees. Inhale from your navel, right leg, left arm out on the diagonal. Bend the knee, reach around, catch a hold of the inner big toe joint. Lift away from the floor, push the foot into the hand to create that space and length. You don't want to be feeling any hardening or compression in the lower back here. And then crossing that right thigh over. Bring the knee to the floor, separate the feet a little. Walk yourself back. You don't want any pain in your knees here, so you can untwist your legs. Take a child's pose of your choice if this feels too much. Maybe the chin hangs over the knee. Inhaling. Making your way up out of this, separating the legs once again. Tuck the toes behind the knees and walk your hands another hand forward. Start to just shift the body forwards and backwards, really simply. Again, back of the abdominal wall stays lifted towards the spine. Feel the connection between the brain stem that enters into the occiput, so the top of the spine that enters the skull, and your coccyx. Inhaling forward. This time as the sit bones approach the heels on the exhale, float your knees off the floor and come into your downward facing dog. The first down dog, you could bend one knee and then the other, softening the elbows. Easing into the tissues in the backs of your legs. Articulating the bones of your feet. And then softening the knees and walking your hands back towards your feet, coming to stand at the back of your mat. Let yourself hang over here. Uttanasana. Press the heels down into the mat and imagine trying to split them apart. So it's an energetic instruction. Your heels won't go anywhere, but you might notice that the feet start to tone in various places. And you might feel the tone in the tops of your thighs around the glutes. Lift and lengthen your heart coming onto the tips of the fingers, and maybe sliding the belly and the ribcage along the thighs, and start to walk your fingers over towards the outside of your right foot. Press back through the top of your left thigh, so curling around a little bit, trying to keep your hips and legs still, anchored, square. Walk your fingertips around the toes and to the outside of your left foot, pressing back through the top of your right thigh as you curl around. And then walking yourself back around towards the front. Let your head hang. Walking your hands back into a downward facing dog. So walk them forward along your mat. Press away from the hands. Take the weight out of the shoulders, into the hips and down into the legs. And then walk your feet forward towards the front of the mat. Maybe bring your big toe joints to touch. Your heels are slightly apart. So feet together today, unless you need extra surface space. And you can keep them hip distance apart. Might be a little kinder to your lower back also. Keep the chin in and lead with your heart. Slowly come all the way up to standing as you inhale. Palms into prayer. And as you exhale, draw your thumbs down to your heart. Soften the knees. Keep your body relatively upright so that it feels as if the tailbone and the pubic bone are dropping down vertically. So your pelvis is neither tipping back or tucking under here. And without tucking the hips here, can you float your left knee up in front of you? Find a half flexed, half pointed foot. And start to pivot the pelvis over the femur head. Keep the same angle in your knee. There's a little bend in your supporting leg, supporting your heart. Exhale. Inhale, coming up in front of you. Open the arms out to the sides. Curl your thumbs in and wrap your fingers around your thumbs. And then as you place this left foot to the floor, you're going to roll your shoulder heads forward. Belly and ribcage, knuckles fly up towards the sky and maybe forward a little bit. So quite a nice stretch for your shoulders. Let your chin come in towards your shins. As you inhale, take the heart forward, turn your armpits, palms up towards the sky, lift the chest. Take an inhale as you reach up, and as you exhale, fly forward and touch the earth, let the head go. Inhale, step back with your left toes into your lunge. Lower your back knees softly down onto the earth and raise your arms up by your ears. So make sure the spine is dropping through like a plumb line, right in the center. You're going to use both legs, turn the palms down, rise up as you exhale. Inhale, softly lower the knee, arms come by the ears. So using the space around you, so you turn your palms down as if you press the air down and you rise through. Inhaling, one more time. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhale, take the fingertips to the floor. Lift your tailbone up. Take it back, lift the front toes, Ardha Hanumanasana. You can keep the arms extended today if you want to fold over the leg. Or walk the hands underneath the shoulders if you need a little bit more height here. Or somewhere in between. Great. Walking yourself back onto the right foot. Lift the back knee. Take the back heel in and down, so left heel in and down. Left arm sweeps back, and from the feet you're going to rise up into a warrior two. Right knee bent, gazing over the right fingers. As you straighten up that front knee, let's take the hands onto the hips so we're not locking. And just explore again what range of movement you have in your hips here. How your femur heads glide in the sockets. So each of our hip joints are as unique as our faces, and there may be quite a difference between the right and the left. The depth or shallowness of the acetabulum, where the bone sits, may be different in each leg also. So having felt this, keep your hands onto your hips. Just start to draw your right thigh bone into the socket. Feel how the hips move. Keep them malleable as you start to lay the right side of your body over your thigh for a Trikonasana. This is an external rotation in your right thigh. Inner thigh rotates up, and maybe a slight internal rotation in the back. The right hand can slide down onto the shin, and the left arm floats up as you reach towards the sky. And there's still an opportunity to be malleable with the hips here until you can find that optimum extension and release from the lower back. Taking the top arm up and over, maybe hand comes underneath the right ear. And you're going to lift yourself all the way up. Turn your right toes in. Right arm comes up by the ear, left arm onto the thigh. Turn your shoulders towards the left. And as you come forward, wrap the left forearm over the spine, over the lower back there. Reaching out, come through a flat back. Keep the thumb lifted. And then keep going. Maybe the fingertips land onto the floor. And then the waist and the ribcage spiral in the same grain as the forearm as you turn the chest, maybe looking up. Feel where your hips are in space behind you. And then we're using both feet. We're going to sweep the arms back out and up. Turn the hips towards the right, so turning the feet once again, warrior two. Take your back arm up and over. Take the hands to the floor and step back into a high plank. Lower your knees, chest and chin as you exhale. Inhale, glide through, lengthen your toes. Exhale, lift your navel, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. As you sink your left heel, float your right leg up behind you. Inhale. Exhale, bring knee to nose and slide the leg across the floor. Maybe bringing the little toe towards the left pinky. Back heel comes in and down. You can stay here and come out of it back into a down dog. Or reach your left arm over by your cheek. Opening the chest. Take the hands back to the floor, knee to navel, pulse back, step the foot in between the hands, come on to the tips of the fingers, and then glide your back foot forward to fold. Maybe big toe joints to touch, heels slightly apart, let your head go. Lead with your heart as you come all the way up to standing, palms into prayer, and as you exhale, soften the knees, draw your thumbs to the heart. Pelvis is in neutral. Without pulling the tailbone under here too much, can you float your right knee up in front of you? It doesn't have to be high. Half pointed, half flexed foot. Pivot the hips over the femur head as you bow, resting your heart on your thumbs. Oops. You might fall over, put the foot down. Coming back. Open the arms out to the sides. Tuck your thumbs in. Wrap your fingers around your thumbs, making a light fist. And as you take the foot to the floor, roll the shoulder heads forward. Turn the palms up towards the sky, still with that light fist. So your arms are like wings, belly, rib cage, and then the head curling in. As you inhale, lead with the heart. Turn the armpits up. Lift the heart, little essence of a back bend. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fly forward. Take the fingertips to the earth. Inhale, step back with your right toes. And lower your back knee down onto the earth. Push into the feet and float your arms out and up by your ears. Exhale, use both legs, palms, float down. Inhale, lower your back knee, arms come by the ears. Exhale, rising up. Inhale, lowering down. One more time. Exhale. Use the space around you using both legs. Inhale, knee lightly lands. Float the fingertips to the floor. Lift your tailbone up, take it back, lift the front toes. Maybe the hands stay where they are, stretching out. Maybe you want to come a little higher, fingertips underneath the shoulders. Or somewhere in between. Lift yourself back onto your left foot, lift your back knee, bring the back heel in and down so that back foot is grounded. Reach your right arm back towards your back foot and use the legs to float yourself up. So build your pose from the ground up, melt the shoulders, gaze towards the left fingers. And as you begin to straighten that front leg, take your hands onto your hips. And just feel the movement available to you here. There's no particular way of doing this. See what range of movement you have in the hips there. Keep the knee joints a little bit soft so that we can move into the Trikonasana with this malleability. Draw that left thigh bone up into the socket and feel how the hips respond to this. There's a slight external rotation in the top of the left thigh. The right hip rotates forward, lengthening the side waist and belly over the thigh. And then sliding your left hand onto the shin. Right arm is rising. Breathing here. And still the opportunity to find that positioning of the hips that allows your spine to release. Coccyx to brainstem. This top arm, this right arm comes all the way over, wraps over the head. Take the hand onto the ear. Drawing yourself up here, turning the left toes in. Left arm rises up by the ear. Feet are parallel. Twist your upper body towards the right. Right arm can wrap around the top of the mounds of the glutes there, just on the sacrum. And you're reaching out here, keeping the thumb lifted. Notice the tendency for the weight to slip into the heels or for the knees to jam. And then keep reaching out, reaching out, reaching out. Let the fingertips land. And then the waist and the chest, follow the grain of the arm that comes around as you turn your heart towards the sky. Difficult to feel where your hips are in space behind you here. So just have a sense if there's little adjustments to be made, and there may be many. And using both legs to float your arms out to the side, spin the hips towards the left, spin the feet, drop down into a warrior two. Back arm comes up and over, hands come to the floor, step back into a high plank. Lower your knees, chest and chin as you exhale. Inhale, lengthen through. Exhale, lift your navel, tuck your toes, downward facing dog, softening the elbow. Floating your left leg up behind you as you inhale. Exhale, knee to nose. Slide your flexed foot across the earth or floor or carpet and take the pinky toe up towards the little finger. Back heel comes down. Maybe the right arm sweeps over by the cheek, spinning the heart. Inflate the hips. And then the hand comes back to the floor, knee to navel, pulse back. Step the foot in between the hands, come onto the fingertips. And glide your back foot forward to fold. Big toe joints to touch, heels slightly apart. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Palms into prayer. We'll fly forward to the second vinyasa. Inhale, step back with your left toes. Good. This time the back knee is going to stay off the floor. Push into both feet. Float the arms out to the sides, airplane position. Wrap the thumbs in, wrap the fingers around the thumbs. And start to rotate the shoulders forward. Let the knuckles fly back and up on a diagonal. Belly and ribcage over the thigh. Anchor to the ball of the back foot. So right side of the body laying over the thigh. So you push into the front foot, come up, turn the armpits, inner elbows, fists up towards the sky, maybe lift the gaze a little bit, broaden across the collarbones. And then as you come back to center, back heel comes down, open up the arms, extend your fingers. Let your left hand drop onto your thigh, your right arm rise up by the ear, curling back a little bit and looking towards your back ankle. Maybe the right heel lifts. Root into the ball of the foot, anchor down through the right hip. And then as you send your heel to the floor, again swing your hips back. Again, feel that rotation of the hips as you reach out. Second variation of Trikonasana. Hand can come inside, onto the shin or the ankle. Maybe the left arm lifts. Extending, coaxing your way from the coccyx all the way through into the brainstem. That top arm could come over here by the cheek and maybe engaging the core so the right arm comes across onto the opposite thigh. And if you wish, bending your right thigh so you can let your upper arm or shoulder rest on the thigh here. Scissoring the arms. And then taking the hands to the floor. That's it. And glide your back foot forward. Feet are together. Take an inhale as you come all the way up to standing. As you rise up onto the balls of your feet, draw your thumbs down. Give yourself a moment to let your body make all those adjustments to find its alignment. And if you can, you're going to start to descend here. Even if your knees feel a little dodgy, this can be quite therapeutic, but you don't want to cause yourself any discomfort. Knees come forward. Imagine leaning your spine into a wall behind you. And then reaching your arms forward to counterbalance the weight of the body. Maybe heels, maybe coming all the way down. You might be plopping down there. Take the toes forward. Take the hands and squeeze your thighs towards one another. So your thigh bones just underneath your knees. Fingers are pointing up like a little vice. Slide the belly up the thighs. Keep squeezing the thighs together, coming into half boat pose. Maybe you could take a 3/4 boat pose, still squeezing the thighs, a little bit more, somewhere in between. And then bringing the feet to the floor. That's it. You can curl your shins around and come into a down dog, or we could cross the ankles and flip back over this way, stretching the legs back. And if you need to release those knee joints, you can do a little bend there. Sink your left heel, float your right leg up behind you. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knee through, set the foot in between the hands, come onto the tips of the fingers, glide your back foot forward to fold. And all the way up to standing as you inhale. And as you exhale, fly forward to the second side. Inhale, step back with your right toes. Root down through the feet, float your arms out to the sides into an aeroplane position. Narrow the pelvic bones. Wrap the thumbs in, wrap the fingers around the thumbs. Start to rotate the shoulder heads forward so the inner elbows turn towards the sky. Lift the knuckles so your arms are flying backwards on the diagonal. Anchor through the ball of your back foot, just the left side of the body lying over the thigh. Push into the foot. Turn the armpits, inner elbows and palms up. Lift the chest. Come back through to the center. Right heel down. Open up into a warrior two. Extend the fingers. Right arm drifts to the back leg. Left arm reaches up. Maybe the gaze turns towards the back right ankle. And the left heel lifts, rooting down through the ball of your foot. Anchoring down through your left hip. And as the left heel sinks, swing your hips back. Notice the angles, how your femur heads sit in the socket. Left hand can float inside or onto the shin. Right arm rises. Eking, coaxing out through the spine. From the coccyx all the way to the brain stem. Maybe the right arm comes over by the cheek, engage your core, oblique muscles, left arm brushes across towards the back thigh. And then the left knee bends, left upper arm or shoulder settles onto the knee. Couple of breaths here. And releasing the hands to the floor, either side of the foot. And gliding your back foot forward to fold. Big toe joints to touch, heels slightly apart. Come all the way up to standing as you inhale. As you exhale and draw your thumbs down to the heart, rock up onto the balls of your feet. Notice where you need to place the weight to keep the ankles stable. Is it more towards the big toe joint or the little toe joint? Just imagine what kind of indentation your feet will be making right now. Where would the weight be? How would that look if you were standing in sand and you went to look at your imprint? Bending the knees. Start to come down, squeezing inner thighs, to sit on the heels, knees come forward, spine moves back. Reach your arms forward to counterbalance the weight of the tailbone and heels dropping. Rock yourself back here. Squeeze the elbows against the inner knees this time, floating the legs. So you're going to hug your shins together with your forearms. Find that half flexed, half pointed foot. If you wanted to do further, keep the left shin where it is. Stretch the right leg forwards as if you're pressing a button with your right big toe. And then slide the leg back. Extending your left leg as if to press a button with the left big toe joint. Slide the leg back. Great. Flex the feet. See if you can hug your shins in. Just hovering heels off the floor. And then either curling your shins around or crossing the ankles and pulling them in. Roll your way over. Make your own transition if that doesn't work for you. And back into your downward facing dog. Taking the weight out of the shoulders, into the hips and down into the heels. Sink your left heel, float your right leg up behind you as you inhale. Bend the knee through, step the foot in between the hands, come onto the tips of the fingers, and glide your back foot forward to fold. Come all the way up to standing as you inhale. And as you exhale, fly forward and touch the earth. Then heel toe the feet hip distance apart. Come and sit down onto your heels. Reach your arms forward so the armpits are over the knees and let your head go. A little rounding here into the back of the body. Feet are parallel. Now if you might need a little bit extra padding for your knees in your camel, you can grab a hold of the top edge of the mat, roll it back towards you, and then place your knees to the floor. Tuck the toes behind the knees, little stretch for the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms forward and up by the ears. Circle the arms behind you and take the thumbs onto the top of the sacrum. Curl the shoulder blades around, elbows towards one another. Use the thumbs to lengthen down through the lower back area. Keep pressing the thighs towards the wall in front of you and lift your heart. This might be enough, or you could reach your fingers towards your heels. Lift the heart vertically towards the sky. I'm keeping the chin towards the sternum, but you could let the head roll back. Never throw it back. The head is heavy, the neck is precious, so if you're taking the head back, tuck the chin in and roll it back. And then to come back, connect the lower ribs and the pelvic bones so you come up without twisting to the best of your ability. Release the fingertips to the floor by the knees as you sit down. Flip the knees off the floor again, sink the heels, and hook your armpits over your knees once again. And you might want to unravel the mat at this point. Let the head go. Coming onto your hands, take the knees to the floor, flatten the feet, and come and sit down on the heels. Put the arms out to the sides as you inhale. As you come forward, sweep your left arm underneath. Your right arm comes over the lower back. So it's a little child's pose with a twist to the upper body. Maybe the left temple comes towards the floor. Couple of breaths here. Feel where the weight is, where your pelvis is. Is it dragged over towards the right too much? Can you center it? And then press into the shins to float the arms out and up. We'll go the other way. So the right arm comes through, the left arm comes over. Centering the hips. Couple of breaths here. And then making your way out of this. Bring your knees together, sink your hips to one side and stretch the legs out in front of you. Let's come to the earth, so curling your sit bones towards your heels, rolling yourself down here. Let's float the arms overhead, so upper arms by the ears. Walk your shoulder blades 1 and 2 down the back, palms are facing the ceiling. And start to rock your knees from side to side. Just as far as is comfortable for you. You might start small and get a little bit larger. or you might stay small. Into the center, draw your knees towards your armpits and slip the hands over the fronts of the knees. Maybe flex your feet and stretch both legs out to the side as you support underneath your thighs. So we did one leg at a time earlier. And then bending the knees, slide the hands up towards the ankles or shins into a happy baby. You could take a little rock here across the mid-back. The shoulder blades plug down. Notice the positioning of the head and the neck. And drop the heels to the sit bones. Draw the knees towards one another. Lift the head and shoulders off the floor, cheeks to knees. And then release yourself down into final relaxation. The knees may stay bent. You could stretch the legs forward and have your knees over a couple of cushions or a bolster if you need a little bit more softness to the lower back. Or you may be comfortable to extend your body long onto the earth. And just snuggle and wiggle yourself down so it feels that you're resting into the earth, not just lying on top. And as we come into final relaxation, let's go back to that pranayama practice, just elongating the exhalation. Just gently follow my words. So we're going to take an inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let this go. Release any focus now, any intention over body, mind, or breath. Let yourself rest here in Shavasana, the pose of integration, assimilating all this energy, this good energy and space that you have been working with. Of course, if you just feel like you're beginning to settle, stay here. And If you would like to conclude your practice with me, then just begin your return to the physical body and to the breath. Keep your eyes closed, there's no hurry here. Make some small movements, maybe wiggling fingers and toes, or a bigger movement if you want to give yourself a big stretch, arms overhead. And curl your way over to the right side. Placing the left hand onto the floor by your face and using that hand to gently spiral your way back to a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. Bring your hands to your heart in prayer and lower your gaze towards your fingers. And take a moment just to thank yourself for making time to practice today. Not only for your own benefit, but for the benefit of all. These qualities that we engage with and play with on our mat, these qualities of awareness, precision, curiosity, kindness, adaptation, the list could go on. These qualities, we can take them off our mat and into our lives, which will influence our relationships, not only our relationship with ourselves, but relationships with the world around us, with the people we encounter, our family and our friends. When you're ready, raise your gaze. Namaste. Go well, go gently, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll be here next week.